So here we are, 14 or so episodes into the Just Out Exploring channel. And I had a thought over the last couple of days. You guys really don't know that much about me. You don't know much about my cruising history. You don't know much about my cruising obsession. And you don't know much just about me as your host. So I thought today would be a good day to just recap and have a quick introduction of Joe. And also I wanted to touch on a cruise rumor that became cruise news that I feel is really exciting, and a lot of the people that watch this channel are going to be just as excited about it as I am. So who am I? Why do I love cruising? How did I get into cruising? How did this become an obsession for me? Well, I'm going to answer all those questions, but first I'm going to do something a little different today. Today I'm going to start off by asking you if you would please mind hitting that subscribe button. You know, I'm really just trying to get this channel started. I'm new out of the gate. I'm working on bringing you guys content, and I'm really striving to hit those first 100 subscribers. We're almost halfway there, and I've set a goal for myself to hit those 100 subscribers by the time I get on my cruise for New Year's. So if you guys could help, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, share this with someone that you think might find some interest in the content that I'm bringing you and the topics that I'm bringing to try and help you guys plan and have better vacations. I would really appreciate it. Again, I want to try to hit those 100 subscribers by the time I'm on my Odyssey of the Seas cruise. I'll probably give a live stream at Sail Away, and I'd love to just be able to share that with more and more people. So yeah, please, I would really appreciate it if you guys would help me out. So who am I? Well, my name is Joe. I live in California, and I love cruising. So you might ask yourself, like, how did you get into cruising? Why do you love it so much? Where did this obsession begin? Well, my first cruise was in 1992, and it was on a ship called the Viking Serenade. It was like a little toy boat in a bathtub compared to the ships that we have today. It was a really fun trip. I was there with our marching band from my high school, and we were doing a performance on Catalina Island as a marching band. And it was just such a fun trip. So we went to Catalina Island and Ensenada. It was over the weekend. I have a picture here that I'm going to share with you guys. It's a little embarrassing because it's me when I was probably 17 years old. But you know what? That was my first cruise, and that kind of is what got the cruise itch into my body. Now, the funny part is that I didn't really go on my next cruise until 2008. And I've talked about that cruise a couple times, and we'll get into that here in a minute. But so what happened between my first cruise and my second cruise? Well, life. I was working. I had gotten a job at Costco. I still work at Costco almost 27 years later. I moved up in the ranks. I moved around to different places in the country. So I started working in Texas, and then I lived in Chicago, and I just kind of been all over and was really pursuing a career with Costco for a long time. But while I was living in these other places, my family was still living between California and Arizona. So a lot of my vacations were going back to visit them, having fun with them, seeing my family. I love my family, and it was just what I wanted to do. Sometime around 2007, when I was living in Missouri, I decided that I wanted something a little different. I wanted to go out on an adventure. I wanted to go out exploring. So I reached out to my friend. He had been doing a ton of traveling. He had been showing me all his pictures and sending me his recaps, and he just was really getting me pumped to try something different. So I started to look at what options were there. And the option that just kept coming back to mind, and remember I said that cruise itch was planted in my body. Well, that cruise itch needed to be scratched. So it kept coming up, and there wasn't any cure for it except for getting on another cruise. I didn't know what to look for. I had no idea. I had no idea what was a good cruise line. I had no idea what was a good cruise ship. You know, at that time, Carnival was super popular. People were talking about it all the time, but Royal Caribbean was coming out with some great new ships with great new attractions and great new amenities on board. And so as I started to just do some research, I was trying to figure out which trip to go on, where to go. And so I started running it by my friend. Well, we decided that we wanted to do a cruise. And so At that same time, there was a documentary that came out on Discovery Channel, and it was called Build It Bigger. And in this episode of Build It Bigger, they were talking about freedom of the seas, liberty of the seas, and independence of the seas, which at that time were the largest cruise ships in the world. So that really piqued my interest. So I dove in. What does a ship offer? Where is it going? And I even got crazier with that. This is where the obsession was born. I was so obsessed and curious about cruise ships, I started learning, how are they propelled? What are the engines like? How do they treat the water? And I just really went into the inner workings of the ship. I was sold. So we booked Liberty of the Seas. We did a 7-night Western Caribbean cruise. We went to Labadee, Haiti, Grand Cayman, Cozumel, and Jamaica. And it was such a fun trip. And it's cemented in my mind that cruising was the way that I wanted to vacation for forever. That's how I got started into cruising. Really. I mean, 1992 was the itch. 2008 was the, you know what, this is yours. That you go after it, get it, and enjoy the heck out of it. And after that, I just started cruising all the time. So since that cruise, I've been on 12 other cruises. So I have 14 cruises in total under my belt. And I've been on several different cruise lines. I've been on Royal Caribbean. I've been on Carnival. I've been on Norwegian. I've been on Disney. And I've been on Celebrity. So I've done the major cruise lines. And I'm looking forward to branching out and trying the other ones. I can't wait to get on MSC cruises. I can't wait to try Virgin Voyages. There's so much out there. I want to try Holland America. I've heard some great things about Holland America. I have a Princess cruise booked for April next year. So I'm gonna be able to have that catalog under my belt, which is really going to be able to help me bring you guys the best content, best comparisons, best what fits for you. I'm a true believer that each cruise line has a personality, and if you figure out what the personality of that cruise line is and match yourself to that, I really feel that you're going to have the best trip that you've ever had. My cruise personality is active, adventurous, and I feel like that's why Royal Caribbean is my favorite cruise line. They're adventurous, they're active. You have surf simulators, you have rock climbing walls, you have skydive simulators, you have just these ice skating, bumper cars, anything active. And while other cruise lines have that, maybe it's because I've sailed Royal Caribbean the most, or maybe there's just something about their product, maybe that I've sailed them first. But they really are my favorite cruise line, and I really feel like they just match. We're a match made in heaven. That's just how I feel about it. And again, I've been on other cruise lines, but I keep going back to Royal. So yeah, so Royal Caribbean is my cruise line. Well, I'm curious, what is your guys' favorite cruise line? Leave a comment down below and tell me what's your favorite cruise line? What is your go-to cruise line? Which one can you not wait to get back on board, even if you've tried other cruises? I know that I have talked to several friends. They're so excited about one cruise line, they'll sail the same ship multiple times just because they know it, they love it, and they want more of it. So they go after what they want. They're spending their money where they know that they're going to get the best value out of that money. So let me know, what's your favorite cruise line? What's your favorite cruise ship if you have one? And I'm excited to read where my audience is landing as far as favorite cruise lines and favorite cruise ships. So when we talk about the obsession, and again, I mentioned this earlier, I became obsessed. And I not only became obsessed with cruising, but I became obsessed with the mechanics of cruise ships. I became obsessed with, where are these cruise ships? What itineraries are they sailing? I became obsessed with just everything that, when are they dry docking? What are they changing when they dry dock? Everything that you can imagine that goes along with cruising, I became obsessed. And I think that kind of was born a little bit, like I said, when I watched that documentary, Build It Bigger. It's still available on the Discovery online channel if you have access to that. And it's a great documentary. Even to this day, it's there. A lot of the technology that was introduced on independence and freedom and liberty, it's still being used. Yeah, they've upgraded some of it and they've moved past some of that, but it's still the basics of where most cruise ships are today. So it's a really interesting documentary if you want to learn some of the behind the scenes stuff about these cruise ships. But yeah, I dove in, and then I discovered Cruise Critic. And let me tell you, The message boards on Cruise Critic, you could spend hours just reading people's thoughts and comments, and it gets to be a little hairy in there. It gets to be a little dicey. People start throwing some controversial opinions out there. By all means, don't go mentioning shorts in the main dining room. You're going to get someone yelling at you, especially if you're on a celebrity or Princess Cruise Lines message board. They'll come at you. So yeah. But yeah, Cruise Critic became a wealth of information. I started to learn so much about cruising from fellow cruisers that were bringing their knowledge to the group. And I think that that's where the idea for this channel has been born. Now, I wanted to start this channel years ago, but I didn't. I had fear, I had blockage, I had so many different reasons why I knew I could, but I just never did. Then the pandemic hit, and that threw me into a little bit of a funk. And I didn't really want to talk about all the negativity around cruise lines being down and all of the stuff that was on there. I couldn't wrap my mind around it. But I got to tell you, and as soon as I had that first cruise in the books and knew it was coming, that excitement rushed back into me. I mean, it came flowing right back into me, and I couldn't contain myself. And I found myself just jaw-jacking to anyone that would listen about cruises again. And then it came to me. Get on YouTube. You've been wanting to do this. Get your butt on YouTube and make these videos and bring your knowledge to as many people that are willing to listen to it. And so here I am. And that's where we're at. And so this channel is just going to be me sharing, talking to you just the way that I talk to everybody that I surround myself with. And hopefully you guys are going to enjoy it. And again, hit that subscribe button. Help me get this channel past that first 100 subscriber block, that barrier. I'd love to hit that mark by time we hit this Odyssey of the Seas cruise on December 30th. I'd love to bring more people the live stream that I plan on doing. And, I'm just really excited about talking cruising as much as I can. And that leads me to the last thing I wanted to talk about today. A few weeks ago, there was a cruise rumor that was born about a ship that was being built, a massive ship, a 208,000 ton Megaship. And it was being built for Dreams Cruises, I think, which was owned by Genting. I think that's what it was. Well, that cruise company went bust. They went bankrupt, and they weren't able to fund that ship or build it or even have a company to run it, right? It was just done. And it's been sitting at the Meyer Werft cruise yard in Germany, and it's been up for bid. It's been up for auction. There's about $900 million worth of work into it. I think it was going to be a $1.3 or $1.4 billion ship. It was going to hold 9,000 passengers. It was going to be somewhat of a beast of a ship, but it just sat there. And so the bankruptcy court was starting to rule whether it was going to be scrapped or how they were going to proceed. But then came a hero. Then came a cruise line that decided that they're going to buy this thing up. They've worked with this shipyard. They've worked with this builder. The builder knows their expectations. And lo and behold, the mouse, the most famous mouse in the world, came out and decided it's time to buy this ship. It's time to increase our fleet. So Disney Cruise Line has purchased that ship. Meyer Werft is going to put their knowledge of Disney Cruise Line into finishing that ship. They're revamping it. It was going to be a 9,000 passenger behemoth. And they're going to scale it back down to about 6,000 passengers, which I know sounds like a lot, but on a cruise ship of 208,000 tons, it's par for the course right now. They're going to incorporate so many Disney interactive spaces and ideas, and it's just going to be able to bring Disney to a large portion of the world. It sounds like it's going to sail outside of the U.S. It sounds like it's just going to be an amazing experience for a lot of people. And it's one that I'm going to keep an eye on. I'm going to keep you guys updated about it. And yeah, I'm probably going to end up booking it when it starts to sail. What do you guys think? Do you think that Disney is making the right move buying this giant ship? Remember, Disney's got 5 ships right now. They got a 6th in production with the Treasure. They've got a 7th on bid that will come out after the Treasure. But this is going to be a fast track 2025 new ship for them. So it's going to really increase their passenger capacity. And what do you guys think? Do you think this was a good move for Disney? Do you think they're making the right move by buying this ship? Do you think that they're making the right move by getting something that wasn't completely designed for them, but kind of tweaking it? It's amazing what they can do at these shipyards, and I'm really, really interested to see how they're going to bring this to life. All right, guys, well, that's it for today. I appreciate you tuning in. Again, one last time, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you know when my videos are dropping, and please share this with someone that you think is going to be interested in the content that I'm bringing as we move this channel forward. And again, we'll see you guys out there, just out exploring.